What's going on, everybody? I'm Jessi Pierce, filling in the very large shoes left by our friend Tim McNiff. Joining me today, Heather Rule, Darrell Thompson, Willi Myles. We have a lot of sports to talk about on today's Let's Play Every Day. Let's dive in. I want to talk Super Bowl first, since we didn't get enough of that coverage yesterday. Right? Let's start with the most important fact. Was that the greatest halftime show ever around? Period. With Dre and M and Snoop, little 50 Cent action, guys. I mean, I was almost in tears. I was so happy. And does that make me old as well? That's the question.
It does. Seems to be the theme. Yeah, that we're all old now. But as I point out on Twitter, I said, okay, if we're old, this millennials group that love the halftime show, then stop blaming millennials when you mean to blame young people for stuff, as people like to dump on the young people. Fine, then you can't call us young anymore then. If we love the halftime show, can't have it both ways.
That's right.
I thought it was awesome. I went back to Michael Jackson. I thought Michael Jackson in '93 was phenomenal. I thought Prince was phenomenal. U2 and some others, but I thought as an entire show, especially the surprise from 50 Cent. I didn't know it was a surprise. My son's like, yeah, he wasn't in. I was like, well, I don't read the press clipping, but it was a great show.
That's funny.
Yeah. Willi, what was your favorite part, or who was your favorite performer?
Obviously, Mary J, because that's just good old singing right there. I just love all Mary J songs. I grew up in the house with 9 women, and female singers have always been a big hit with me. But I'm like Darrell, though. I go back because Prince was it was like a personal connection. I just don't think when his halftime show, I get why they did it in LA. Those guys are all from that area, and that made sense, because if you ever been to where that stadium is, you will know that is in the heart of Los Angeles, and so it made sense. But yeah, I thought it was great, and but Mary J was definitely my favorite part.
Oh, she crushed it. I mean, they all did, really. Like, I was just blown away. I couldn't do that, even at my age. Like, even dancing, I was like, the next morning, I'm like, God, I'm a little sore from some of that, right? Like, you feel like we used to. But let's talk a little bit about the actual game. DT, what was the difference? I mean, you could argue the refs were maybe the difference toward the end there, but, what was it about LA that just ended up getting the job done? To me, it seemed like they're just the more complete team compared to Cincinnati.
I think the complete team, and also their defense. Their defense was just that much better. And Aaron Darnold, I mean, he is a phenomenal, generational, once every 15-year, 20-year in the Reggie White, Bruce Smith type category of all-time greats, almost instant Hall of Famer. So, I mean, I think it was the defense, their quarterback. I mean, he was great. He made a big difference. I'm sure they've completely moved on, but it was a great team effort by them. But I really feel like at the end of the day, it came down to their defense and the lack of offensive line for the Cincinnati Bengals. Their offensive line was porous, and in the second half, they got wore down and manhandled, and that was it for them.
I mean, Aaron Darnold gets the sack at the end to really seal the deal. You know what I kind of hated, though? And I understand, right? As a reporter, I get, but asking the immediate question, are you retired, before he really even has a chance to celebrate, does that bug anybody else? Or is that just me?
It really does. Yeah. And I know it's got to, I don't get it. I don't get the conversation with these guys right after the game either. I think you got to give them a minute. I mean, these guys want to celebrate, and the interviews always goes horrible, because they start talking and then everybody walks up to them and and they're so excited. You don't know what they're going to say. You don't have no 7-second delay. I mean, these guys are. Right, Darrell? I mean, these
people are excited. They're swearing. Their teammates are running up to them. Their wives, their kids. There's all kinds of things, which is also kind of makes it beautiful in the moment. But also just the retirement coach, when you're not even, the sweat hasn't even dried from the game, and you're like, so what do you think you're going to do with your 401k program? I don't know.
Did you save your money? How much are you getting? Are you financially okay to retire? It's true. Not right now. This is not the time. I'm not the person, and this ain't the place.
Right? It is. It's a little thing. I mean, speaking of retirement, though, Sean McVay, he gonna retire? Is he riding off into the sunset? Is Kevin O'Connell coming to the Vikings? I mean, wouldn't that be classic Minnesota to not?
He's not.
That's always
McVay's not going anywhere.
Retire from what? Eating donuts?
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah,
He hasn't worked. He's only worked like 12 years in his life. I don't think he's made enough money just to shut her down. He lives in Los Angeles.
He's got the money part. He might not.
Yeah.
He's not ready. He's 36. He's ready, or he's got at least another 15 or 20 years in him before he goes into booth or goes into management or goes into the general manager role. But he's got at least another 10 or 15 years in him.
Oh yeah,
a couple more rings maybe, right?
I'm just saying to retire. I mean, I know where he lives, and that you ain't gonna retire off of what he's made, and he's gonna have to move to Montana, and then he can live forever. But where he lives in Los Angeles, man, the crib that he's man, you're gonna need a couple of more contracts if you're gonna retire there. But if he's gonna retire and just move to a state with no taxes or something like that, or just buy a piece of land in Montana where you won't see nobody for like 7 or 8 miles, then he can retire.
I just love that speculation was even going on because, again, it seems so Minnesota to be like, what's the worst thing that could possibly happen? Oh, this could be a bad thing to happen. Like, it's just so Minnesota waiting for the other shoe to drop. Like, we just can't accept, like, what should happen is going to happen. Like, it just seems to be such a mental block here in Minnesota.
Sounds like some Tim McNiff would say.
Right? I'm trying my best to put my Tim McNiff impression on here today.
He goes nuclear right off the bat. He doesn't even... There's no warning shot, just red button.
No, exactly. Speaking of Tim, I'll come for Kirk Cousins next. Can Joe Mixon be our quarterback for the Vikings? 5th non-quarterback to throw a touchdown pass in the Super Bowl. DT, I have a question about Joe Mixon and his not playing when I think they were 3rd and 1, and they ended up going with P. Ryan. Like, what was the reason? Is it because he was maybe tired, or because it seemed like that was a play that Mixon could have got that yard or two or whatever it was.
Must have been a coach's decision. I don't know. Obviously I don't know. And I think sometimes you never really know exactly. It just kind of takes a while if it was a disciplinary thing or if he had something hurt, or if every once in a while people do forget. They do forget when a guy's on the sideline. They're kind of like, oh my God, you mean so-and-so's not in the game? So then they're like, and they hand the ball off to the other guy. They're like, oh, we just hand the ball off to the guy who's weighs 15 pounds less and might not pick up that half yard or yard that we need. So I don't know. It's going to take some time for that to all come out, and I don't know if we'll ever really know the answer. But obviously, it was a mistake. He should have been in the game. You want to have your horse in the game when trying to pick up that yard and a half.
Right.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing too. And I my only thought is that sometimes I think they overthink the process. Sometimes they'll say, let's put such and so in because they won't expect him to get the ball. They'll think he's there to block. You know what I mean? They're looking for a pass, but they weren't. And that play it made no sense to me either, because that's your money guy. Give him the ball. That was just like the Seattle game, where they won the goal line and you don't Marshawn Lynch. I mean, give him the ball. That's what you got him for.
Right.
They tricked him.
Yeah. A little bit. Yeah. Trying to play mind games, but they're playing mind games with themselves, it seems like.
Well, I mean, what a good team does is they do what they do. In any sport, basketball, football, hockey, what do you do? Well, we get the ball to so-and-so, we get the puck to so-and-so. He does his thing, and that's what he does. We execute. So give him a chance to execute. Give your offensive line a chance to execute. Maybe don't run the ball at Sam Darnold either. I mean, he was literally, it looked like he was playing high school football out there. I was like, he's still bench presses people. Like he holds them, then he holds the guy with one hand, then he grabs the ball. I said, you're not supposed to hold a 330-pound man with one hand and then grab a 200-pound man with the other hand and then pull him down for no gain. It's like, well,
no gain. Like stopped him. Like stopped him in his tracks. Oof.
Unreal. Well, another football season comes to an end. What a year it was. Obviously going to be missed until next year. We'll see what the Vikings end up doing. Moving on now to the Winter Olympics. I really wanted to talk about this because it's just been driving me insane. Russia clearly has zero respect for banned substances, right? Camila Valia is allowed to continue competing despite testing positive for a performance-enhancing drug or a drug that can actually enhance. Yet Sha'Carri Richardson was not allowed to compete for an out-of-competition positive test for smoking a little weed, which is not, in fact, a performance-enhancing drug. How mind-boggling. Whoever wants to take this first can take this first, because to me, I'm just like, that makes absolutely zero sense. Like the IOC is so much like the NCAA, right? Where it just is going to kind of set its own rules and switch things up to benefit themselves the most, because it just seems absolutely insane that Camilla is still allowed to participate. There's not going to be a podium if she's on the podium, no medal ceremony. I mean, all of it just seems so ridiculous, right, Heather?
Well, and how unfair for the other athletes that are competing, because so she gets on the podium, no medal ceremony. So sorry if, like, you know, if she gets silver or if she gets bronze or whatever, like, sorry, you won the gold medal, but we're not doing a medal ceremony because we're allowing this. I mean, it's like you're already admitting then that, yeah, this is the wrong decision. But I think in some ways it's not surprising because Russia competes as they're not even Russia. It's
right.
I'm blanking on what they're called now. It's
Committee.
The committee. Yeah, they're the committee.
The Olympic Committee. And because of past doping issues. Mm-hmm. And I looked at it and said, well, the Russian anti-doping agency was made aware of this this positive test for her before like the national competition for Russia for her. And I'm like, okay, they have an anti-doping agency, really? Like what a joke is, what kind of a joke is that? So yeah, I think in some ways it's sort of, what else do you expect from Russia in trying to do this? You know, I know it's the team competition is kind of tainted now too, because they won gold in that. And there was, I don't believe, a medal ceremony for that, or was delayed. I mean, this is lingered throughout the Olympics too. This wasn't a quick decision either. It just kind of been going on. And now for her to compete is ridiculous. And I know Tara Lipinski, I think I saw, came out on Twitter and disagreed with it. I saw some other skaters saying how bad it was for the sport. So it's pretty frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it makes no sense. I as soon as I heard it just I don't know. You know what I mean? I think that the thing with the Olympics is that either you got a set of rules or you don't, and you can't just flip flop between them and stuff like that. But what they did to Richards, I mean, Richards didn't smoke weed. She admitted she smoked weed, and these people are literally, this is their go-to is doping. Mm-hmm. That whole organization is just doping. And then they find out, and then they tell her that. But here's the thing that I wanted to say, and here's what made me so mad, is when they said they're going to let her compete because if she doesn't compete, it will be detrimental to her career. Are you kidding me? Detrimental to her career? Yeah.
It's well, and I think that's right. Like, I do agree with the fact that the adults around her failed, right? Because she is 15 years old and they were the ones that said, you should do this, you should do this, you should do this. And I believe that's why they're trying to treat this differently, is because she's a minor. But you're absolutely right. Like, you're failing all these other athletes in the process of this. Like, unfortunate for her, but she can't compete. Like, that's just bottom line. Like, that's the consequence for doing something like this. And it, you know, that's unfortunate, but it is what it is. You have these ground rules for a reason, right? You have these rules in place, and it makes you curious. Like, well, what if, you know, someone else had tested again, going back to Shikari? Like, I think that's one that really just drives me insane. Like, she was not allowed to compete in the Summer Olympics because she smoked some weed, not during competition. Like, it's just so insane to me. And it's so unfortunate because it does put that cloud over the Olympics, such a special time, a time to celebrate all of these athletes and the accomplishments, and something that they've dedicated their entire lives to. And to have this type of stuff hanging over consistently. Again, I go back to the IOC just being very sketchy and very shady. You know, it's a bunch of people that get paid a lot of money to sit around and not do a whole lot. Again, kind of like the NCAA. So, I mean, that's just kind of where I'm at. To round up the Olympic talk, Heather, U.S. versus Canada, women's hockey. I know you guys will probably talk about that a little bit more tomorrow when the gold medal game's actually going down, but another classic matchup.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. I'm hoping U.S. can maybe balance out the percentage of scoring on a few more of their shots than they're taking. And you look at just kind of the scores and what's happened so far, and Canada has outscored their opponents like 54-8, I think. And the two games in the middle round for U.S. have been like 4-1 scores, I think. The quarterfinals, it was, you know, they had all these shots and then they were down 1-0. obviously getting the win is the most important at this point to move forward. But even going back to that first game they played against Canada, I think they're going to have to step up their game a little bit if they want to get gold and win those battles to the puck. Make sure they're bearing a little more of their chances than they were that first game, and throughout. I mean, they're putting like 50 shots on goal every game, which is awesome. But I think you're going to have a tougher task against Canada too, as far as getting those chances and being able to capitalize. So they're going to have to do that. Maybe make sure their power play is clicking a little bit more than it has sometimes. But yeah, it should be good. I'm looking forward to it. Another Night Owl hockey game. I think
I was going to say it's another
10
late
p.m.
DT. Are you staying up late to watch some of these competitions at all?
I might. I've been watching some of the downhill racing, which I still am amazed that someone can go downhill on skis at 70 miles per hour. So yeah, I might stay up and watch a little bit of hockey. One of our neighbors, the Panic young lady, is a tremendous hockey player, and she grew up with our daughter and played soccer with her, and is also obviously an awesome hockey player. So I will probably stay up and watch a little bit of it tonight.
Nice. So skiing's your favorite Olympic event so far, or what's been your?
It just seems like it's been on, skiing and ice skating. Yeah, I like the speed skating as well. I think it's interesting, and I think it's been, it's fun. And curling, I've tried to watch some. Seems like I just kind of miss it for some reason, but I'm gonna try to catch that too. So I try to watch as much as I can. The Winter Olympics is always just doesn't quite have the energy of the Summer Olympics, but I do enjoy it, and I want to watch it. Yeah.
Right. See, Willie, what's your favorite? Have you been watching, tuning in a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, I'm always flip-flopping back between that, and I'm going to be watching. I'm definitely watching the hockey, the women's hockey match. It's and like Darrell, I mean, it's downhill. I watch it, but man, I'm not. That's some scary stuff, when you're coming down that fast, and I was just like, man. That is like you once you start losing control, you can't get it back. You just it's like I just pray that everything is all together when they get to the bottom, man. It's like, oh my God. I remember watching Lindsey Vonn, man, and I saw her and I was just like, when I saw her leg come up, I'm like, holy, and she was at top speed, man. I'm talking cheetah speed. And I was like, and it's this ground and sky, ground, sky, ground, sky, ground, sky. And you just get back, it's like, man, it's like, I feel it in my bones. I feel the pain, you know what I mean? And that's just so, but I watch it anyway, because,
Because you're not doing it. You can watch somebody else.
And I like violence. I like it a lot.
I still remember when I was little learning to ski with my dad, and we ended up going down a blue hill, which I was in no way prepared for. And skiing is like the one sport where it's like the only way to save yourself is to fall. So I remember I was going too fast for him to stop me, and he's like, "You gotta fall. You just gotta eat it." And I remember just being like, "Oh God!" Just like boom, 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 boom. And I was like, "I don't like skiing anymore." And so my Olympic skiing career ended.
This is a quick little story of me my freshman year at St. Cloud State. When, like, again, I'm from Alabama. I've never been skiing in my life. They take me to Powderhorn. This little golf course. I mean, the ski resort place up in St. Cloud, Powder Hill or Powder Puff or whatever it's called. Anyway, they told me I was on a bunny hill, and they said all you have to do is. I only had like 20 minutes worth of ski lessons, like how to put the skis on, how to turn your feet in and out, whatever.
Pizza and
they
French
get
fries.
me on the hill. I should have known I wasn't on a bunny hill when they took me up the chalet. And they
you're not on the tow rope for the bunny hill.
Exactly. So the thing is that I saw this little kid, but come to find out, this kid was like an expert. So I think I must be on bunny hill. There's a small kid up here, But this kid went down the thing. He was like, I went down that hill. And it's like I kept going faster and faster. I was screaming, and my buddy who took me, and it was like all 5 of them. Only 2 of them went down the hill with me. They were on either side because I wouldn't kill myself. And that's exactly what they told me. They said, "Dude, just go down. Go down." I'm like, "I'm going down." They go, "No, go down. You're going too fast."
You
like, who waxed my skis, man? What, you guys put like olive oil underneath them? I was going so fast, like I was like scared to death. So I survived. I took those skis off at the bottom of the hill. I just marched into the chalet and sat there the whole day. I never went back out. Never been on a pair of skis again. ever, or skates. I've never been on ice. I just don't.
It's just, you don't mess with it.
No.
That's fair. Yeah, I get it. Let's move a little bit to some Timberwolves. Patrick Beverly getting a 1-year, $13 million extension. I saw a tweet this morning that said he's now surpassed $75 million in career earnings after bouncing around in Europe and buying out his own contract in Russia. What do you guys make of it? I mean, good on Patrick Beverly. He's obviously been a very large part, almost maybe a surprising contributor to the success for the Minnesota Timberwolves this year. But what do you guys think about the 1-year extension for Mr. Beverly?
I
think it's good. I think, it's interesting. Him, I can't say a naysayer about him, but I was kind of lukewarm. But seeing him be here, his attention to detail, his ability to raise the confidence and making the team realize the importance of defense is really, really important. So, I mean, I've become a Patrick Beverly fan when I really wasn't one in the past. I thought he was a nuisance and kind of annoying, but now when someone like that's working for you and your squad, you become a fan, and I respect his game.
I like it.
I think a lot of it is this experience too, man. The guy, like I said, when you bounced around the European leagues like he has, and then you come in and play in the NBA, I mean, you bring a little different style of basketball, what he has. And like I said before, the deadline is that I didn't think the Timberwolves were going to make a move, and I wouldn't make a move. I know that I get a lot of flack for saying stuff like that, but I mean, my thing is that if I'm a GM, I'm not answering the phone. I got a good team here, and I know people say, well, you should always answer the phone. No, you don't have. If you got a good team, there's no need to answer the phone. Like, I have a good warranty on my car. I'm not answering these robocalls trying to sell me an extended warranty. My warranty on my car is really good. Don't answer the phone. I don't want to talk to you about a warranty. I don't care how good yours is. I love mine. And I think that, these guys, look, they got good chemistry. Like I said, they may not win the championship. They may not go deep into the playoff, but they got a playoff caliber team. And I think you work with it, you gel it a little bit more. And this team, if you can bring this team back next year, have mercy.
I mean, it's that team culture, right, DT? How much can you speak to that? We've talked about it time and time again, but it really is like, if you have a team that's getting along as well as it is, that's obviously going to translate to success. I think sometimes that's so underrated.
Well, that, and you can also be picky. Like right now, they can be like the free agent market. We just want, maybe we need another shooter, and then we'll do something with the draft. But we're not desperate. Mm-hmm. So I mean, having the squad that we have in place currently right now is exciting. And Patrick Beverly's he's a big piece of it. So yeah, it's nice when you're not desperate.
Mm-hmm. The Timberwolves taking on the Charlotte Hornets this evening. First of a back-to-back. They got Toronto tomorrow. Now let's move on to my favorite topic, the Minnesota Wild. Let's go Wild. Matt Boldy, first ever hat trick, not just first in the NHL. He has never had a hat trick in the AHL, in the NCAA. Huge. He actually ends up with 4 points, getting an assist on a goal later on in the game. Heather, what can we say about this kid? I mean, I've been a fan since 2019, since they picked him up. I knew he had exceptional hands, but man alive, I mean, he's putting up Kirill Kaprizov numbers. I don't want to say it, but I'm going to say it. He's putting up Kirill Kaprizov numbers, and he's only 20.
Yes. Yeah, it's awesome. There was, Stats by Stats on Twitter last night had a cool thing and said he has 13 career games with the Wild, 14 points, a +10 rating, and the team's won 11 times. Like, no other player in NHL history has been able to reach those numbers for those categories in that limited amount of time in the NHL. So it's awesome. It's so funny too, because everyone last season when they were playing Vegas in the postseason, and everyone's like clamoring for him to play. Like, he warmed up, and it was like kind of a game time decision, and everyone was like, oh my gosh, why is he not playing? And it was this huge thing. And meanwhile, Cole Caufield was just lighting it up for Montreal. But I think, it was okay to wait. I mean, and he's had some injury issues earlier this season trying to get going, but I think it was kind of worth the wait to see it happen the way it's played out. And he, it's been so fun to watch. The chemistry with Fiala has been awesome. Just some of the moves he made, that one goal last night he had where he kind of spun around backward a little bit and fired the shot. I mean, that's highlight worthy stuff, which is awesome, which I think everyone is always sort of trying to do, but can't always quite pull it off. So he's doing stuff like that. He's making good passes. He seems to have such a good awareness on the ice.
Yes.
Plus he's fun to watch, and it's nice to have like somebody else on the team too. It's kind of like, well, it's just Kirill Kaprizov. He's the only guy that can score goals. Like he's so fun, and the crowd with the hat trick last night, it was funny. I think kind of a delayed reaction because people weren't sure if Eric Sinek had scored the goal, but he pulled his stick away in the crease to give him a goal. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun to watch him.
What a teammate, right? Like, no, I'm gonna give him the hattie. So he literally removes his stick so he can get the credit for the goal. I mean, that just speaks volumes again to what a culture that team has really cultivated to lead to their success. I mean, for a guy Matt Boldy's size too, and to have the hands that he does, I think is just what really amazes me. And then he's just so humble, and he's just so happy. Like, he just looks like that little kid. I mean, all those players do when they're out there, but he's happy for every pass he makes. He's happy for every move that his teammates make too. I mean, it's not just him. I mean, we talk time and time again about what a team sport hockey is, but seeing this Minnesota Wild team do that and get so excited for each other has been so fun. It's the fifth time they beat Detroit 7-4. It's the fifth time this season the Wild have scored 7+ on home ice, which is unreal. 6th straight win at home. They've won 2 in a row. They head into Winnipeg tomorrow for a little rumble. Marcus Foligno back. We've got a couple minutes left here, and I am going to switch gears. Team Capo. See, Willie, you have the floor. We've been debating about goaltending for quite some time. Capo Kakinen allows 2 goals on 3 shots, ends up with 29 saves. So pretty good. As of right now, Minnesota Wild alternating between Talbot and Kakinen. But see, Willie, Team Capo, let's hear it. What's your take?
I love it, man. I love it. And I did a Tim McNiff last night because I was watching it. And he was like, boom, boom. I'm like, I better turn this off right now. I feel like I'm jinxing him, And but no, he pulled it together. And I think I tweeted out like he needs help. They need to score some goals, man. They need to score some goals and get my boy some help on the other end so he can get jacked up down there, But they came through for him, man. And then Boldy, he just lit it up. I mean, look. Cap, I like him, man. I really do. And I'm not even gonna lie. Ever since you start talking about him, you got me to start watching hockey a little bit more.
Nice.
And so when I generally don't watch it. I follow it on Twitter and on ESPN highlights, but I literally sit down and I watch hockey because I'm like, this guy has got moves.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, he's good. He's good in front of that net. But, I like Talbot too. I mean, I'm starting to love Wild hockey. Number one, they're winning. And number two, you're right. They got so much good chemistry. And Boldy is excited because, number one, he's 20. So 20-year-olds are excited about everything. So, but at the end of the day, Kaprizov is, he's the man. And nobody doubts that. But Boldy showed that he could be the man if Kaprizov decided he don't want to be the man. But Capo is like, I don't even know what you need to see from him anymore. I don't know what you need to see from what that man needs to show you.
I want a shutout. Give me a shutout, maybe. Don't allow any goals.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Just I don't know what else he needs to do. The man he's Iron Man back there.
I mean, go ahead, Heather.
I was just gonna say, so the game the other day with Carolina, like that would be a game where, and then Talbot played that game. To me, that was the game where Talbot really factored in, especially early on. Made so many great saves to keep them in it. And that was closer to a goaltender stealing the game a little bit than last night with Capo, when it actually kind of got close at the end until they finally got the empty netter and Hartman put one in. But,
Hey, you gotta take your hat off to Bill. I can never pronounce his last name. Yes. Guyan or something. He's the GM of the Wild.
Billy G. Yeah. You can go Billy G.
Yeah, Billy G.
I like him. I respect him. He's funny, but I think it's also him. He's got his hands on this.
Right.
He's got the young guys. He's got excited. He's got the culture going. I'm excited, and I'm a lukewarm hockey fan. I'm like, oh, they're winning. Let me turn it on. So I'm excited. I'm gonna watch a little bit more hockey besides the Olympics. I'm gonna turn on the Wild too and watch them. So everybody wants to watch a winner, and everybody cares when you're winning. So
exactly,
keep it up.
And they're winning in such fun fashion. I mean, this is not the team that we're used to seeing from the Minnesota Wild. Like I said, 7+ goals in 5 games. Like, that's unheard of. Minnesota's usually, going, no disrespect to Jacques Lemieux, who's a legend, but I mean, that was the trap defense, and we're going to win games 2-0, and you're going to win games 1-0. I mean, this is fun, exciting hockey. I mean, anybody, DT, let's get you out to a game, man. Like, that's, if you see it in person, hockey to me is a sport that needs to be watched in person. Like, it's fun to watch on TV. In person, it's a whole other thing. And the crowd at the X has been the loudest I think I've ever heard it lately. I mean,
Epic.
Matt Goldie, it's just been unreal. It's so much fun to watch. They've got a tough schedule coming up, not just a whole bunch of games jam-packed, but they've got tough opponents. I mean, you're back in Winnipeg. Marcus Foligno tomorrow. Jordan Greenway said they better be watching out because we're coming for him. Capo's probably not going to play tomorrow. He might be traded. Who knows? We'll see. No, just kidding. But no, if you're not tuning into the Wild, jump on the bandwagon now. We got room for you. It's a good time. So that's going to do it for today's episode, as Mr. Tim McNiff says, who will be back tomorrow to hosting duties. If you're on the sidelines or have the choice to play, jump in and play every day. I want to thanks to Heather, DTC, Willie for joining me today. This is a fun conversation, guys. I like it.
Thank you. Great job.
Thank you. Great
Thank
job.
you.
Absolutely.
All right, guys. Again, Tim McNiff back tomorrow at 9:30. Have a great day.